Okay guys, we're going to start in about 1-2 minutes time. Just waiting for people to join the stream. Karthik, why don't you come say hi to the camera?
Cameraman.
Our director, Karthik. When it's time, you just let me know.
It's 3:30.
Okay, shall start. Okay guys, so this is the 3:33 football show by FootBoleh. Every Saturday, same time, sometimes different place. And today, our regular host Prabhu is not here, so I'm Jesh and I'll be hosting the show today with our die-hard Arsenal fan, Heikel.
What's up, Doc?
And he's the first guy in Singapore to put up the Arsene Wenger out banner.
Wenger out.
Alright, so today's show, we'll be talking about the champions from last season across Europe and why they've not done so well this season. Alright, so we've got Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Monaco, Juventus, and Chelsea. Alright, so let's start with Real Madrid first.
Real Madrid. When you think about Real Madrid these days, right, it's Cristiano Ronaldo. The reason why they are underperforming is because of the over-reliance on Ronaldo. This season, he's got 6.7 shots per game, whereas last season, he had 5.6 shots per game. He's been very not as clinical as last season. He only has 16 chances created last season, whereas 32 chances created this season. It's not been his season this season, and as a result, they're not going to score goals because another thing is poor transfer. They let go of Morata, they let go of James, they let go of Pepe. I'll get on Morata first because Benzema is their first choice striker last season, this season, ever since he came in. But the second choice striker right now is Borja Mayoral. Morata and Mayoral, I don't think anyone would have picked Mayoral as second choice for a club the size of Real Madrid. Another thing is the injuries to Bale, Carvajal and Varane. Now, people might say that we prefer Isco, we prefer Asensio, but they're not natural wingers and they'll be found out, especially Asensio. Especially Isco. Whereas Asensio, Zidane is not trusting him too much because if he were to be trusting him, he would be in the side right now with Bale out. Lastly, I'll talk about Zidane's tactics. It's been 2 seasons with him and the general consensus is that he's gone stale and he's not changing much. The reason why he could perform, I got this wrong the other time with PSG and Madrid, was that, remember, he won 2 Champions League back-to-back. No one has ever done that since they changed the name. He could do that in Champions League, he could do that in Europe. But in the La Liga where it's back-to-back, it's very, very hard to change your tactics, and then people might realize it if you don't change your tactics.
It's a long, tough season. Lots
It
of
is.
injuries, lots of games to win. Yeah, much harder than a knockout competition.
Yep. So
I actually wanted to ask you a more interesting question. Actually, when we talk about these 5 teams, right, I think there is a recurring theme here, and my opinion is that once you win, you lose that little bit of edge, and that is the edge of the second place, which makes them want to beat the first place.
It's true. Barcelona, on the other hand, had a better transfer window than Real Madrid. They got
Dembele?
Dembele and Delafu to replace, although Delafu went out to replace Neymar. Then they Semedo for the right back. They were correcting their wrongs, whereas Real Madrid were more letting go of players and not properly replacing them.
I don't think Real Madrid had a very good transfer window. Actually, they seemed a bit complacent after winning 2 Champions Leagues in a row. And personally, I feel that teams have a certain life cycle, and Real Madrid's team is coming to the end of that life cycle because it's too reliant on Ronaldo and Benzema and Bale, that front 3, and I think the front 3 is kind of not as dynamic and as efficient as before. Definitely, I think it's time for Benzema to move on and a better striker to come out,
Fully agree.
If they are intending to keep Ronaldo there, which I think they will, probably Bale will be the one to leave. Benzema will probably leave, and I think Isco will probably be sold as well to raise funds. I think it's going to be a very interesting transfer window for Real Madrid this season. They have to take action after... I mean, football is so competitive now. Where do you go? You know, I mean, you've just won the Champions League 2 seasons in a row, and then what do you do next? You know,
Win 3.
it's really tough. You know. All right, so let's talk now about Bayern then. All right, so Bayern is in a bit more of a unique situation. You know, Bayern is kind of in a one-team league, a bit like PSG, but Bayern has actually been winning the league the last few seasons. But I don't know, of all these teams on the list, Bayern is the only one that's actually retained the title. Actually, why do you think that is?
Like you say, I think it's more of the one team in the league that knows what to do, whereas the rest is like, yeah, they can try, but they're not going to try. And usually, I don't know, for some reason, players like to go to Bayern. Like we hear about Goretzka, he could go to any club, but he chose to go to Bayern.
Yeah.
And then we know about how Dortmund lose players to Bayern, Lewandowski and Götze and Hummels. I think I don't know, for some reason it's that league, you don't want to go anywhere but Bayern.
I think it's the money. You know, I think it comes down to the money actually, because none of the clubs around Bayern have the financial power to actually compete with them until Leipzig has come along now. And if you look across Europe at again another recurring theme, right, is that the teams that won were actually the teams that spent the most in their league last season. You know, all the teams that spent the biggest, right, are teams that actually end up winning. And I don't know, are we reaching a stage where football is really just about who spends the most wins, you know?
It's either that or you're correcting the wrongs of the previous season.
Yes. So what do you think about, let's see, Chelsea?
Last season, to me, it was very, very tough to beat. They went on a unbeaten run, I can't remember how many. But I think the two big mistake was actually letting go of Diego Costa and bringing in Bakayoko. Because the way I see Kante plays, right, is freedom. Kante, they say, covered 70% and all that. And if you were to sort of divide or lift the burden for Bakayoko, lift the burden for Kante, and by bringing in Bakayoko, he has to do it well. Because when Kante came in to Leicester first time and then to Chelsea, he was playing his way. But once you bring in Bakayoko and he doesn't adapt as well as Kante, you're going to have problems. That's why I think they sort of lost. By the way, I don't think so. I think it's harsh when the fans were jeering for Bakayoko because it's his first season and everyone has to adapt.
I mean, he also did come in with I think he had a pinhole surgery in his knee just before coming in. You know, just after transferring in, he came in with quite a tricky injury of the knee. So I think it took him a while to get up to form. Didn't have a proper pre-season. I think he's a quality player actually, because last season when I saw him for Monaco, he was really solid.
He was doing his thing with Fabinho.
Yeah, but perhaps you're right. You know, the combination with Kante is not suitable as with Fabinho. It's more of a rigid Fabinho link rather than you need a more free Kante to run about and
I think if Chelsea didn't let go of Matic, but if Chelsea didn't let go of Matic, I think it would have suited Bakayoko.
Yes, I think that would have been a good combination. Yeah.
So on to Diego Costa letting him go. So I'll just say the stats at this point. Diego Costa last season had at that point was 21 games, 15 goals, 63% shot accuracy. Morata, 21 goals, 21 games, 10 goals, 51% shot accuracy. I think they missed that. And the biggest example I can give is, you imagine Diego Costa going up against Arsenal and Morata going up against Arsenal. I think that's the biggest. Diego Costa bullies the Arsenal defense. Morata just gives the Arsenal defense the ball.
Yeah, I think Diego Costa is the true battering ram striker.
Yep.
And it's kind of not so many of these strikers around anymore. I think as a defender, if there's one striker you really don't want to play against, it's probably Diego Costa. You know, even if he's not going to score, he's going to leave you feeling really knocked up and really miserable after the game.
One last thing, although we've been hearing a lot, is Conte is not being backed by the board, and this might be Conte's last season. I think if they don't win the Champions League, I don't think they can win the Premier League. If they can't win the Champions League, I think this is his last season. Because last season when they won the league, they didn't have the Champions League. They were easier for them to win the league. But when you go to the Champions League, you want to be much more prepared, have the squad much more better. And by the board not backing him, I think it was a problem.
I definitely think there's something going on behind the scenes at Chelsea. A lot of rumours of rifts between Conte and his transfer team.
Yep.
Because he doesn't seem to like the transfers that they've gotten him. He wants some other players, and they've gotten him some other players instead. And you know, it's not like they've not bought players. I mean, they've bought quite a lot of players. You know, actually, they've bought a lot of players, but they seem to be rather 7 upon 10, good investment, good sell-on value kind of players. You know, good deal players, rather than what is a wow player or someone ready to raise the level of the team.
It's not the caliber of world class. And it goes back to Dominic on the first episode. He said that Chelsea, they are buying the wrong players.
I agree. I think Chelsea are buying the wrong players. I mean, some of the players, don't get me wrong, they're pretty good, but they are not the players that Chelsea needs.
Yep.
You know, they're just buying these guys to fill gaps in their squad, but it's not really going to take them to the next level. I don't know. I think Conte is a dead man walking.
Danny drink water. Says it all. I don't think they need it.
I don't know. I'm not sure why they need Danny Drinkwater and Ross Barkley and Bakayoko and Fabregas
and Giroud.
Giroud actually, I think Giroud actually is a good signing, because if Morata is not performing, I think Giroud gives them a quality option that's like a reliable. Giroud's goal scoring ratio is pretty high actually. I don't think they will trust him to be the leading man, but then again with Conte, you never really know.
That's the thing. Chelsea needed a leading man to replace Thiago Costa. I just personally don't feel that Giroud is the guy.
Giroud's a bit too soft. Giroud's definitely not a hard guy like Thiago Costa. That much is for sure.
Okay.
Alright, so let's move on to Monaco. Alright, Monaco, I love Monaco actually, because I think this is a fascinating project actually, this Monaco project. After a spectacular season where they reached the quarterfinals of the Champions League and they won the French League, they have actually kind of not had a good season. They sold Mbappe and they've sold Bakayoko and Bernardo Silva as well. So I don't think it's been so good for them, even though they made close to 300 million, I think, from all those transfers. Football-wise, I think they've taken a huge step back. They have a formula of buying very promising, very talented young guys. When we talk about promising, there are two categories. There are those that are promising and might be good, and there are those that are really promising and are like good at every level, and they're just waiting to go from level by level, you know, Belgian to Portuguese to French to Spanish to English, you know. And I think these guys are just really good in Monaco when they buy these guys. For example, this season they got Tielemans and they've got they've got Keita Balde. Keita Balde, now that is a guy I think we really have to look out for. Okay, this guy is going to be really interesting. He's from Lazio actually, and he was not so fantastic at Lazio. I mean, he's a pretty good star player there, but this is a guy that can play across the front line, any of the three positions, striker, and he's tall and he's big, he's fast. He reminds me a little bit of Ronaldo actually. Very exciting player. When the link-up play with Falcao, you watch him play, it's actually really good. So this is the thing actually, Monaco have actually not been playing that badly. They've been playing pretty good football. They've replaced okay, they're somewhere around, you know, they're still going to be second, I think. But how is it that, you know, you think it's just because of money, that they don't have money and they sold their players?
Can't be money, because you said 300 million. I think they could have bought Neymar.
I think, you see, but that's the thing, you know, are they a profit club, you know? Is it their business, you know, they sold Martial, you know, they seem to be like grooming players to sell them and then just keep the money.
But if that's the case, that's not the way to build your club. I think one factor is PSG. PSG is buying players because Mbappe was their crown jewel.
I'm very surprised by that. To me, that just basically shows that Monaco have already surrendered first place to PSG. And they're just saying that, look, let's consolidate our second place and consolidate our Champions League place every year and make lots of money. The moment you sell Mbappe to your biggest rival and, you know, you facilitate that transfer, because that transfer actually could not have gone through on FPP terms, you know, unless Monaco were willing to do the deal on a loan term. So Monaco actually were willing to facilitate Mbappe to go to PSG on their terms. So I think really this just shows that, you know, Monaco have kind of given up the title to PSG. They know that money, they can't throw money to compete. whereas they'd rather make money and earn money for the owner in the long run, and give their fans something to shout about.
Yeah.
So I don't think that in French league in particular, I don't think we're going to see much change there. I think Monaco is probably going to be second.
Okay.
Right. So we'll move on to the last club now, Juventus. All right. So Juventus, we've got some opinions from our host Daman here, and Heiko's going to read out the opinions on Juventus from Daman.
Okay. One thing is, he's a Juventus fan, so he knows Juventus better than us. Besides him supporting Liverpool. So this is what he said. At this stage last season, 25 games played, Juventus are actually performing slightly better, unlike the other reigning champions that we've mentioned. Despite them performing better, they are not running away with the title because Napoli have turned a one-horse race into a two-horse race. However, Napoli is out of all cup competitions and they now have the advantage of going for the Serie A title, whereas Juventus has Atalanta in the Coppa Italia semi-final and Spurs in the Champions League round of 16. But one thing Diamond did say is that this is the league you need to keep an eye on because it's definitely going to be tight finish to the end. By the way, if I could say this about Atalanta and Dortmund match where Batshuayi was being abused of racism, I don't think that has any place, not even in on the streets, let alone a football match. So say no to racism.
Yeah. All of us here at FootBoleh, we know we're all about equal opportunity and everybody being treated the same. We are very strongly opposed to racism. So say no to racism, guys.
Yeah. So some stats for comparing this season and last season to Juventus. Last season they had 53 goals scored, whereas this season is 62. Last season they conceded 17, but this season they conceded 15. So they are actually performing better, but Napoli is somehow are performing better than them. If I could talk a bit about Napoli, they have averaged 2 goals per game.
Napoli have actually been really good after they moved Mertens up to striker. Actually.
Yes. And their shots per game for Napoli is 17.4, whereas Juve is 15.4. The reason why they've been doing well is because of their tactics, and I think the manager, he's been linked with Arsenal for a reason, and the way he plays his compactness, his defense is high line, and it closes the gap between the midfield where the fullbacks will actually press on, and the way they work is the opposition attacks will be somewhat confused because the ball is being passed between Koulibaly, Raul Albiol, Reina and Diawara. And when you play a Barcelona style of play, then you bring others out. They have freedom in front.
Lots of space in front for the attackers. Yeah. I think Napoli have actually impressed everybody this season. In fact, last season actually they were pretty good as well.
They were good, but
they've been quite consistent even without much money.
Yeah.
As much money as Juventus. Why do you think this is so? Do you think it's down to the manager?
I think it's down to the manager. He came in last season, like you said, it was impressive. This season he's doing it more. So I honestly believe it's the manager because last season they sold Higuain as well.
To their main rival as well, Juventus, and they sold Higuain to their main rival and still doing so well. They're fighting with Juventus right up there. Took their money and spent it right back.
Exactly.
So who do you think is going to win that race?
The way Napoli plays, I like Napoli, but I look at experience and I think Juventus because they know how. They've been winning it for the past few seasons.
I don't know, man. I think it's tough because I agree with you. I think they have the experience and they are the team that you would favour in a tough race like this. But somehow again, I come to this recurring theme of the team that is trying to catch up always has that hunger, and sometimes in very close margin fights like this, that hunger to win against the team that's already won, that's a little bit like jaded. That's the thing. That's why we talk about the old Sir Alex teams and how they can win year after year after year. Right? That kind of consistency is really, really hard. We don't even see it anymore these days. Alright, so let's actually move on. And now let's talk about the big games this week. A lot of big games this week, right? So let's start with United-Chelsea.
United-Chelsea, okay.
That's the Premier League game, United-Chelsea. That's tomorrow night at Old Trafford. This is a spicy one with the feud between Conte and Mourinho.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Recently the jersey from Mourinho to Conte.
Yes.
That's next level mind games.
So in case you guys haven't seen that, I think Jose Mourinho sent a Manchester United jersey with number 1 and Conte on it to Antonio Conte in a Chelsea press conference from a reporter. You guys can look for the video online. And he kept offering it to him and trying to goad him into a reaction. So I think Jose has already started his mind games pretty early. Let's see how Conte reacts. I mean, it's been quite brutal between these two guys, you know, the things they said about each other.
Season, actually.
They really don't like each other, and I think Mourinho has even said things like, I didn't win in a fixed league, I was not accused of match fixing, he really some real low blows there, even though, to be fair to Conte, he was actually acquitted of all these things, he was acquitted of all wrongdoing. But he's angry. I think Conte wants some revenge. This is a very personal game, a very, very personal game.
Who's playing at home?
United will be at home this game.
Be at home.
I think that gives United the edge a little bit.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Again, bro, I think there's a bit of expectation now from playing at United every time with all these big players and the fans come to there, right? The whole stadium, either it's a very good atmosphere on a good day, or it becomes a very toxic atmosphere, which is just very like negative, and it's just a bad day, it's just another park the bus special, So I really don't want to see us parking the bus at home against a Chelsea team who like to park the bus also. I really think we have to go all out and attack. It's been a tough week as a United fan, falling asleep in a lot of games. Very, very boring. I hope we can see some. I don't even mind if we lose. If we lose 3-2, we lose 4-3. I'd rather we.
You just want an attacking scoreline.
I'd rather we lose 4-3 and I actually feel something is going to happen in the game, than I just sit there and just watch and oh no, nothing.
Even to a last minute goal.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, even if we lose it. I mean that's what when you lose 4-3 to a last minute goal, you remember the game. Yeah, you remember it, but you don't even. Most of the United games now, they are so forgettable, you don't even remember anything that happened in the game. I find that to be very sad for a brand that has spent literally billions to get the best players, the most attacking players, Sanchez, Pogba, so many good players, Lukaku. I don't know what is happening. It's very. I mean, we are as fans, we are loyal United fans for life, but please lah, we all want to see some excitement also lah. So, prediction for that match?
United win.
United win?
By the way, last time I was here, I made a lot of wrong predictions. I have to admit that. I'm actually not that good at predictions, although we were told to not go back and research on who's going to win. It's quick fire. So, I apologize. If you want to go with me, with my predictions, it's up to you. If you want to go against me and win money, up to you. But I don't advocate betting. But I'll go with United win.
United win?
1-0.
Score? 1-0?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to be very hopeful and I'm going to go for a 2-1 Manchester United win. Very hopeful to see 2 goals. But let's see, alright? Now, the big game of the week, alright? What has become perhaps the biggest game of Arsenal season? The Carabao Cup final against Man City on Sunday. That is a huge game for Arsenal right now. On the back of a very demoralizing defeat to Osteruns at the Emirates on Thursday. That was very bad, huh?
Initially what we thought, actually we can't predict Wenger. Initially what we thought was, you rest all your players, because Bellerin is the only recognised right back, and yet you still play him on Friday morning, Thursday night, depending where you are. And then he played Jack Wilshere, Mkhitaryan's cup tight, so that's why he played. Makes sense. But when you have these senior players and then you go 2-0 down, I am extremely fuming at that time. You don't go 2 down with senior players against team like Ostersons. You don't. So, but Devil's Advocate says that Wilshere was not in the game, Bellerin was not in the game. They were focused on the final. That's why they didn't perform.
Arsenal could have gone out, right? There's one point at 2-0, the Austrians got a penalty and almost should have had a penalty. Should have had a penalty, and that would have been 3-0, 3 away goals, and Arsenal would have been out.
They would have been out. The previous game, the first leg, they had a penalty and they missed Ostersons.
So very, very fine margins.
I don't know why they like to play with fire, but then that's been happening for 10 years.
You'd expect Arsenal to comfortably beat Austrians. Austrians are like 4th or 5th, I think, in their league. They've only just been promoted from 4th division up each season. Very interesting project there, Austrians actually.
Wenger came in, and then Ostersons were formed. It wasn't before Wenger, so that says a lot.
The club is younger than Wenger.
I mean Wenger's time in Arsenal.
I think I saw somewhere that the entire population of Austrians is less than the population of Emirates Stadium. 48,000 to 59,000 or something like that. Yeah. Lots of memes going around about Arsenal. Lots of memes. You can check out our FootBoleh memes as well, guys. Lots of memes every day. Alright, so now let's move to predictions for the game. What do you think is going to happen in the game?
Arsenal's my club, but I have to be realistic here. Man City came off a loss also to Wigan. I think Man City will win this one.
Man City will win this one?
Yeah.
You think they're going to hammer Arsenal?
No. I think it'll be, like I said, I'm not good at predictions, but I think it'll be a close
game.
Yeah.
Will it be lots of goals?
No.
Tight game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be going for an Arsenal win actually. I know that's quite against most people's predictions. Most people think like, how can Arsenal lose to Austrians and now come and beat Man City? But to me, I think, guys, that's football lah. The thing that you least expect to happen, that's the thing that's gonna happen. And just when you think that City has got it, this was the exact same scenario last time with Chelsea when Arsenal beat them. Everybody thought that Arsenal was out, Arsenal wouldn't beat them. Same thing in the FA Cup with Man City as well. Everybody thought there's no way that Arsenal is going to beat Man City, but somehow or other Arsenal just raised their game when it really matters. I feel for you, man, as an Arsenal fan. I've been following Arsenal fan TV and all. I sympathize with the plight of the Arsenal fans. You guys are really passionate, and your club is kind of selling you out with the management. The top management. The top management.
They're not doing their job.
So for me, I'm going to go with extra time 2-1 win to Arsenal.
Okay.
Okay, so now, guys, we're going to answer some of your questions from last week. Thank you, guys, for your questions. If you have any other questions, please comment
on the video.
You can even send it to us and we'll ask it next week. Alright, so Ahmad Fazli from Malaysia has asked, why is the show called 333 Football Show? Okay, so it's called 333, guys, because the founder, Daman, he loves the number 3 and 3, and we were trying to find a suitable time that suits all of our audience in Asia, because India is 2.5 hours behind the rest of Asia, 3 hours behind. So in order to get everybody, we found a nice time, and then we thought 333, pretty good, nice Saturday afternoon live football for everybody. So that's actually how we've got the 333 Football Show. Thank you, Fazli, for that question. And okay, we've got another question from Kailash Singh. Who is going to win the Champions League? So, Haikal, this question is for you.
Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich to win the Champions League?
Bayern Munich.
And run out?
I think Real Madrid.
I'm going to go for a Spurs Champions League win with Real Madrid to be the runner-up.
He's not my friend though.
Guys, I tell it like this. A United fan and I will say Liverpool are awesome. Doesn't matter. I love football, so I think this Spurs team really have a really serious chance of winning this Champions League. Cannot be written off. I know you don't want to hear that, but that is the truth. That is the truth.
That is the truth, but I don't want to hear that.
Alright, so guys, we come to our last segment of the show today. A very popular segment according to you guys. You guys seem to like this very much. This is our legend versus future legend segment. Each week we talk about a legend of the past and somebody who's about to become a legend. So this week we've got Nesta against Bonucci. For those of you who don't know, Alessandro Nesta, AC Milan legend, and Leonardo Bonucci, Juventus, soon to be, he was going to be a legend, but now he's joined AC Milan suddenly, so he will definitely be an Italian football legend for sure. So let's talk about these two centre-back legends of Italy.
Okay. The narrative for both is similar. They started their career elsewhere. He wasn't at Milan with the famous Milan Academy. Last season, Bonucci was part of the Team of the Year, and Nesta has been Team of the Year for I think 2 or 3 times. The way Bonucci plays is to intercept the ball and then bring it forward. I think that didn't suit Milan and part of the reason why he wasn't doing well, because when he was at Juve, he had Chiellini beside him and Bazzagli
he had a
beside
much
him.
better team with him.
Nesta, the way Nesta plays is positional awareness. He just knows where the ball is going to be. He doesn't need to like move around so much because he's intelligent.
A bit like a John Terry.
Yeah, there was one match, and I think this is the match to me that make me feel like Nesta. I'll pick Nesta for this one. Barcelona versus Milan, and he marked Messi, and Messi couldn't do anything. He couldn't do anything. There was one time where Messi played a 1-2. You know when you play a 1-2, you go to the other guy because you didn't know this guy was coming. Nesta didn't went for the other guy. He just stood there because Messi was going to come to him. That is, if you want to learn defending, go learn from Nesta, go learn from Maldini, go learn from the Milan pass.
Those are some really, really, really good defenders in those in that era of Milan defenders and Italian defenders. I think rank amongst the best ever in history of football.
Absolutely.
Know? When you talk about Bonucci, so for me, Bonucci is a really good defender.
He is a good defender, but it's not as, to me, it's not as convincing as Nesta.
He's not on. It's hard to say. Okay, I mean, when we talk about legend, a lot of it comes down to how much affection people have for a player. So Nesta didn't really leave. You know, he's a Milan guy. I mean, he played for Lazio as well, but
he started at
Lazio and then he went to Milan. But he's won at both teams. You know, he won UEFA Super Cup, Cup Winners' Cup, Champions League, 2 Champions Leagues. I think he's won with Milan. Bonucci, on the other hand, he did not seem to be the star defender in that Juventus team. I actually always thought that Chiellini was the main man. And surprisingly, Bonucci
at the same time he had Buffon.
Yeah. You know, they also have Buffon. You know, they have a whole system that is just geared towards defending, you know, keeping the ball, and they play. You're the dominant team. You know, when you're the dominant team, it's easier to defend. It's a big fish in a small pond as opposed to a small fish in a big pond versus big fish in a small pond. So now where he is, I think being the leader, this is what disappointed me about Bonucci, because I was expecting, you know, when this guy goes from Juventus to Milan and this huge ambitious Milan project, he's going to be the main guy, you know. And to be fair, you watch his performances this season, I think he's been actually the problem area of their defense, you know, which is very, very bad for them because he's a captain, he's a guy that they look to.
That's the thing, he's the captain.
It's been a bit of a shambles at Milan. You know, they've spent so much money.
It's not working out.
Basically, a bit like Everton, spent a lot of money on 7 upon 10 players. And it's not really clicking yet. A lot of potential that is not really come out of their shell. I don't know. I think this is going to be a bit of a not a good scenario. I'm going to go with Nesta as well.
Maybe he needs people around him.
I mean, that's perfectly fair as well, because I think, you know, defending, right, there are different styles of defenders. Some people are more solo defenders, some people are more like positional tactical defenders. And I wouldn't hold it against Bonucci, but I think Nesta is really, really just too good. Yeah, Nesta is just too good.
No contest.
No contest, yeah. So that's Nesta from both of us. And if you guys are wondering why we're actually talking about Italian football today, it's because we've realized that Italian football is actually really exciting. A switch has suddenly flipped in Italian football. I'm not sure what has happened. Italian football traditionally is very defensive and possession based. Now you guys go watch a random game, any random game, even middle table teams, so exciting, so much goals, so much attacking football. And the Italian league actually, apart from all the leagues, was the only league at Christmas with 4 teams still with a real chance of winning. Now it's fallen off to 2, but very exciting league that's going to get more and more exciting. It's a rebuilding league, you know, after all the problems they've had, they're trying to rebuild. So we'll be following all the leagues. Tell us which leagues you guys like. You know, this Italian league was a suggestion from a fan. Tell us what you guys like to see, and we'll feature it each week. Alright? Send us your questions and any feedback, any thoughts, and we'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place maybe. This is FootBoleh. This is Heikel.